Hey everyone, Mo here. I just wanted to talk about something that is very near and dear to my heart. That's credit scores. I know, it's kind of a boring topic, but it's really important if one day you want to get a house or a car loan or borrow any money at all. I read something very interesting today that's saying that younger generations are not using credit cards, they're actually opting for debit cards. Now, there's a lot of reasons why you should be using credit cards over debit cards. I feel like there's this huge fear that everyone's going to get into debt right away and everyone's going to have to sell their house and car if they start using credit cards, but that is not the case. With a debit card, you're pretty much just spending cash, and while that's okay, you're missing out on a lot of perks that credit cards offer. First of all, credit cards offer you travel benefits, cash back, all this good stuff, but most importantly, if you use a credit card, it increases your credit score. Credit score basically says how reliable you are in paying money back that you borrow. Who are these credit companies saying whether I'm reliable or not? You don't know me. Don't judge me. Well, these credit companies probably know way more about you than you know about yourself. The Fair Isaac Corporation, or FICO, actually tracks a lot of data and tells these lenders whether you're reliable or not. And they do that by assigning you a credit score. Now, if you don't understand credit scores, all you have to know is this. Imagine a bunch of lenders get together and talk smack about you, all right? They all get together and say,
Jimmy hasn't paid his credit card bill this week. Also, he didn't pay his gas and electric last month either. I don't know, man. What do you think about this guy? Should I give him a car loan at, a good interest rate?
Listen, I don't think this guy's good for his money, alright? He's not going to pay you back. And if he is, it's going to be late or something's going to happen. Just do this. If you're going to give him a loan with a high interest rate. That way, if he takes longer to pay you back, you're going to get that money.
basically, they plug all this data into some software and then they spit out this number to you. And this number basically tells you and everyone how likely it is that you'll pay someone back if you borrow money. And basically, everything, all the financial decisions are all based on this one number. A 300 to 579 score is poor, 580 to 669 is fair, 670 to 739 is good, 740 to 799 is very good, and 800 to 850 is excellent. So basically, there's a big range from 350 to 800. Now, why would anyone want to get to an 850 credit score? Isn't that just overdoing it? Isn't that just trying too hard? Not really. Think about it. People won't trust you if you have a really low credit score since you've got a history of not being trustworthy. But if you do have a low credit score, do not panic. There are lots of ways to increase your credit score for free. So there are 5 things that affect your credit score. First is payment history, which is about 35% of your credit score. Then there's the total amount that you owe, which is about 30% of your credit score. The length of your credit history, which is about 15%. The types of credit you have, which is about 10%. And new credit, which is about 10%. So clearly, some factors weigh out more than others, but they are all important when it comes down to calculating that almighty credit score. So in order to make sure that you have the highest credit score possible, you have to make sure that first and foremost, you pay all your bills on time. This one's the most important. The reason why people get into so much credit card debt is that they just leave their balance running. Imagine if you have $3,000 of credit limit on one of your credit cards, but you only have $1,000 in the bank. So you decide to just spend all your money on fancy clothes, vacations, whatever you want, and you max out that credit card. You don't even have enough money to pay it off. What you should be using your credit card for is as a debit card. Treat it just the same as a debit card, because then you'll be able to pay off every single month all the things that you owe. The reason why people get into so much credit card debt is because they just leave that account balance running. And once they can't pay off that balance, it moves over to the next month. And not only that, you get charged interest. Interest can get as high as 20% or even higher than that, depending on your credit score. If you loan out $1,000 and you're not able to pay that back on that credit card, you're going to have to pay about $1,000 plus $200 every year that you keep that balance running. So once you pay off all your bills on time every month, you're going to see a substantial change in that credit score. You're going to see it go way up in just about 6 months. Next, you want to keep your credit utilization low. And credit utilization is pretty much the percent of your credit you're using. So this is the total amount, right? So it doesn't matter if you have 1 credit card or 5 credit cards, it uses the total amount. And you want to keep that as low as possible, which basically means if you have a $5,000 credit limit, you want to use $1,000 at most. But you don't want to keep maxing it out at $5,000, even if you do have the funds to keep paying it off every month. You just want to keep that as low as possible. And what I recommend doing is you just put your recurring bills on 1 credit card. Let's say you have a gym membership, Netflix, or any other subscription. You just put that on one of your credit cards and you put it on auto pay. You don't even look at it. And by the time 6 months rolls around, you're going to see your credit score jump a huge amount. Now next, you just don't want to close any of your credit cards. If you've already opened any credit cards, you just want to keep them open. You don't have to use them at all. Just keep them tucked somewhere safe. Make sure you keep a look at the balance so no one's committing fraud. But you want to keep them open because that credit limit you have is important and you don't want to close it out or else you'll get less credits and then your credit score is going to tank. And another reason you don't want to close your credit cards is that the length of credit history is really important as well. Lenders want to see how long you've been in the credit game, all right? They want to see that you're reliable and that you've been around for a long time and that you're going to be here for a while afterwards. Any new credit card owners are not going to be as reliable as ones that have ones for 20 to 30 years. So make sure you just keep that credit card open and have that credit history grow as long as you can. Types of credit that you have are important as well. They want to see a little mix of everything. They want to see that you have auto loans, home loans, credit loans, student loans, all these things. And if you have a mixture of loans and that you're paying them on time, your credit score is going to really improve because they see that you're a reliable borrower. Now, new credit is also a factor as well because once you open a new credit line, it's going to lower your score a little bit at first, but once you keep that line open for a while, your score is going to recover and it's going to increase even more. So be careful when you're applying for a loan or for an apartment because right after you open a new credit card, it's going to temporarily decrease your credit score just a little bit. So if you're applying for something big, a huge financial thing, you want to hold off on opening any new lines of credit. Now, another way to make sure that you have the highest credit score possible is to call all your credit cards, call all the credit card companies, and see if you can qualify for a credit increase. Basically, you can go from $2,000 to $3,000, etc., etc. But the higher your credit limit is on all your cards, the higher your credit score is going to be because the less of the credit cards you'll be using. And your credit utilization is going to be even lower because the credit limit's going to go up. Now, to sum everything up, your credit score is really important because you're going to want to one day buy a house, you're going to one day buy a car, and if you want a loan for one of those things, you're going to have a good credit score. Now, if you have a lower credit score, you're going to get worse loans, ones that have higher interest rates and require way more things than the ones with good credit scores because they consider people with low credit scores subprime borrowers. And subprime borrowers only get money from subprime lenders. And subprime basically just means not prime. They're lower than prime. It basically means less quality. And these lenders are more risk tolerant, but they also want more returns for their risk. That means they're going to charge you way more interest for loans that you could receive for way less. And this is just an easy way to hack this system and just get interest rates way lower than you have to. Now, a good way to keep up to date with your credit score is to use Credit Karma, which is completely free. You just have to sign up, link below. Just keep an eye on your credit score once in a while. You just have to check it every month or so and see how you're doing. Make sure your credit score is going up. It tells you everything that you need to know with credit length, number of inquiries, how many accounts you have open, all that good stuff. Now, if you don't have a credit card, don't worry. There are plenty of beginner credit cards. All you have to look out is for no annual fee. Make sure you're not paying anything, $0 annual fee, because some of these cards charge you up to $250 a year just to let them use it. So, what my recommendation is, you have to use the Discover It card. Personally, this is one of my favorite beginner cards. It gives you 1 to 2% cash back, 2% if you use the card on groceries and gas. Also, it gives you a free credit score. Also, no annual fee. It doesn't have any annual fee. It's completely free to use. You just apply. Link below is my referral code. And again, if you're nervous about running a huge balance and getting into lots of debt, don't sweat it. Just put one of your Netflix subscriptions, put a gym membership on there, put one of your utility bills on that card, leave it on auto pay, and just forget about it. All right? You don't even have to use the credit card for lots of things. You can just use it for random daily expenses, such as gas and groceries. All right. That's so cringe.